Cool. We are live and we have been live for a few minutes, folks. Sorry, so we missed some great conversation here, but just to catch people up, if you're watching this playback, we had a conversation from newly minted Coach Amanda here, and she brought up a few items that they're currently working towards in building a business. And we dived into the conversation of moving away from being a digital ghost and having your footprint online. And a common question that pops up for a lot of folks when deciding to share more content online is, do I continue to use my personal account versus do I create a business profile on platforms like Instagram or Facebook or whatever platform it is you want to work on? And we got a lot of very useful feedback and additional questions from the coaches who are here. So, Coach Kathy, you let us know that there are certain pros and cons to having multiple accounts. And even there's a slight differentiation between a business profile versus a creator or influencer account, which I don't think I personally wasn't familiar with. And it sounds like having a business profile doesn't allow you to share content across platforms on the meta based platforms, whereas having a creator or an influencer account, you can also share from Instagram to Facebook and potentially vice versa. So that's some really useful content for people to understand. Uh, Cindy also shared that they were sharing and getting the most feedback from content when it was on their personal account and it was them engaging in the practices that they share with their clients. It fed into conversations and people reaching out to ask more detailed questions and opening up those conversations in useful ways that further the connection with their community. And Leah, you had your hand up next. There was something you wanted to add as well.
There we go. Sorry, I was muted. Um,
All good.
so I have two accounts. I have my personal account and my business account. I really never post very much on my personal account. So for me, it was like not a big deal to make my personal or my professional account. Um, but just some like little tips. So my account is still very new. But something I found it easy is utilizing AI. You can talk to AI and it will spit out all these different ideas. So it's really fun to brainstorm with that. Like you could just be like, hey, I want to set up, um, you know, my wellness week or whatever that looks like. And it'll spit out all of these things like wellness, Wednesday, thirsty Thursday, where you're staying hydrated. So then like every day you have like a theme if that's what you're wanting. Um, and then the really fun part is there is, I don't know if a lot of people know about, there is an app called Buffer. So, because I know like a lot of the times what happens is when we're trying to post things, it takes a lot of our time away. So to be able to make that time shorter, you can have it already pre-done and set up on Buffer, and then it will automatically post it for you at the time that you already have it scheduled. So then you're not taking all of this time because it does. Like I know, like I finally did like my first, because I've had so many of my clients ask me, can you please post some videos of you making recipes? I don't know why that made me so nervous, but like that was more nervous than like me like actually talking to a camera. And I was just like, okay. And I think it's just because of all the steps, right? And you're trying to make it as short as you can, because that's the other thing. Like you have to make it short. Like I was talking to my friend who does marketing, and she was like, honestly, like 30 seconds. And trying to do a recipe in 30 seconds is so hard. Like I think I did like 43, and then everything just tanks. Like it's the sweet spot is in between like 15 to 20 that I found. Like those are the ones that like tons of people will hit on. Um, but it's just really nice to have these other options available for us to post. So that way, I'm slowly starting to build and get into it. And I'm trying to make all these things so that way I can just post for a week. And then I only have a little bit of scheduled time that I can do that instead of every day trying to make something and post something. So those are just like my little helpful tips. And that's something I'm working on as well.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And the tool that you
Yeah.
mentioned was called for scheduling content is Buffer, and then I assume you attach
Hmm.
it to your social accounts. There's a way
Yes,
to
yeah,
link
and you
them.
can do I believe actually I can pull it up real quick and see. Because I just have it attached to my Instagram, but you can do Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then also to your LinkedIn if you have LinkedIn.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Kathy, you might know the answer to this one. I think I just recently found, and I don't know if it's a new updated feature, but on a professional or creator content account on Instagram, you can schedule content as well. So it's like you go through the irregular process and then you scroll down and there's a button to hit schedule, and then it will appear in the future for whatever you set it.
Yeah, it is set up for the professional. I haven't because I just recently switched mine over to the influencer.
Mm,
I'm not sure if you can do it on the influencer, but I know for sure you can do it on the professional because I've seen it.
cool.
Haven't used it, but
Yeah, I've used it all of one time so far, so can likely vouch, although I'm not sure if I did it by accident. So buffer if I'm wrong then. Faisal, what do you got?
Great conversation. Um, Very nice. Kathy, question for Kathy is the scheduling. I know it works on the mobile on Instagram for scheduling. Does it also work on the desktop version of it? Because for some reason I'm unable to schedule it using my desktop and have to
I
transform my
don't,
images over to
yeah,
mobile.
I don't think you can. You can do a lot of things on the mobile that you can't do on the desktop, which is crazy, but yeah,
Yeah, you think they're both in sync.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That is a good question to clarify. Thank you for that, Faisal. Amanda, you've set us on a real course here, and apparently you're surrounded by some social media mavens, so hopefully that is some useful stuff for you there. I think it's maybe unit three or unit four where you'll start to talk about inbound, outbound marketing strategies, uh, when to use kind of more just like breadcrumbs, like I refer to it. Could be things like posting stories from like allied professionals and just putting your own spin on it or sharing more context. Uh, and then when to kind of navigate into more personal content and then deliver that final ask or that call to action where you're saying, hey, I've been alluding to this for a little while here. Here's the big reveal. This is the thing that I'm working on. If this has been useful for you, or if you found yourself nodding along to some of this stuff, feel free to reach out and we can start a conversation. So hopefully it's becoming a little bit more of a clear path for you to move forward. There was another conversation that I wanted to start here. I think we lost it in the mix for a second. Oh, it is in the chat box. Give me 1 second to just scan through here. Vicky, are you still around? You had a question.
Yes. Fussy dog below me, you know how that goes. Um,
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, it's very specific to coaches who work with athletes, or maybe it's not, because I'm sure all of us are aware of, sugar being taunted as the new evil, as opposed to fat, now it's sugar. So particularly with athletes and athletes who are at a higher level, they consume a lot of sugar. I mean, if you're eating gels and goos and you're doing long rides or long runs, and the detriments to health in the long term. So when I'm working with clients now, I'm considering whether I should, again, it is a performance enhancement for sure, because you want to get glucose, when you want to get your energy into your system quickly. But I'm wondering if other people are discouraging them during the non-race season. You're still working out, you're still doing longer rides or runs or swims, but do you try to encourage more whole foods during those times?
So that is a good question. Uh, I'll open it up to people who work or who have experience in more of the endurance athlete realm. I have some thoughts on this one. I had a similar and almost exactly opposite question or conversation with a client this morning that I think is relevant here. But coaches, what are your thoughts in terms of your clients or yourself fueling with foods that are designed for performance benefits, but maybe not for long-term health. Christina, are you able to elaborate on that a little bit for Vicky and for potentially people who are looking to work with endurance athletes?
Yeah, I mean, I like the approach that off season could be a good time for clients to focus on whole foods and nourishment. But at the same time, we're talking about probably those athletes have the demands, I would assume, right? Parents, work, whatever else might be coming their way. So I like the idea of educating them on that and suggesting, hey, maybe perhaps this could be a good time on focusing on your nourishment if that's what you're able, ready, and willing to do, and kind of checking with them. I always believe in education, but then with that education, there's always should be a client-centered question in terms of what they're able to do and how feasible that's for their demands during off season.
Yeah, and with one client in particular, and I'm thinking about this with myself as well. But he lives in Belize, and so availability of even some of the products. So when we started, he was in race season, so we were sort of discourage him from doing like sandwiches in races or training because that's not going to get in your system fast enough. That's not going to give you the energy you need. But so now that we're in off season, I'm sort of saying, hey, maybe we can go back and look at, because availability, like it's like you always think, oh, we can get anything on Amazon, but not so if you live in Belize. It's a little harder for sure. And yeah, just figuring out what foods are available. And so trying not to confuse them too much, like, oh, we said do this, but now we're saying do this. So yeah, education and yeah, and he's also young in his 20s. So I'm just thinking about his health in the long term, because we don't know, like this concept of eating 90 to 120 grams of carbs per hour, like the Tour de France riders, like people think, oh, I need to do that. And it's like, wow, well, the body's for hundreds of years, or millions of years, we've not eaten that way. So we don't know the long-term effects of that kind of sugar consumption. So yeah, it's challenging. So yeah, we're just starting conversations about it. So.
Vicky, just to add
Cool.
real quick to something like that would be like, I love like the spectrum, the categories. So you know how when we represent the precision nutrition guidelines that have like a food categories, protein, 3 colors, green, yellow, red, carbs and fats. This is like a great way to give them a spectrum as well. So, hey, ideal, right? This is what it looks like. For your needs, this might what it looks like. And then what are you able to do kind of thing, right? His own like, what is it called? Like a traffic light list or something, right? Where they put
Yeah,
on
we
their
use it
own
as
like
stoplight.
red.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, thank you. So that could be a good tool for that particular client you mentioned, perhaps to kind of get a general idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and we are kind of doing that, trying to get him to read labels. But of course, I can get organic peanut butter here that has peanuts in it. And so he's showing me his peanut butter, and it's Jiffy, because that's what you can get. And it's got sugar and it's got other stuff in it. So just like not saying, okay, you can't have the Jiffy, but let's next time you go to the store, let's read the labels. And yeah, it's been learning for sure. He's also trying to lose some weight in the off season. Very endurance athlete typical kind of thing. So yeah.
Improve efficiency. Yep.
Yeah.
Always looking for that marginal edge.
Strength to weight ratio.
Any other coaches here have any insight to share with Vicky? So if not, a couple points come up for me. So before I get into my story from this morning, considerations I think for clients in this space are largely driven by what is the immediate performance benefit, and then what is any additional cost that they're willing to pay. Like, I'm sure if your person was to say, it's like, if I consume this, I will improve immediately my race performance by like 5 to 10 places. It's a no-brainer. Even if it means immediately after the race, my guts will be destroyed. But I was able to accomplish the thing I want to do. So he's very clear on like what the goal is. I want to see improvement in performance. I'm willing to drop weight for it. I'm willing to hire a coach for it. I'm willing to experiment with different dietary approaches. These are all things that this person has like already put up their hand and shown that they're ready, willing, and able to do. In terms of concern for their long-term health, I think that's a reasonable thing to keep in mind. But for this client, it may be a little bit less dramatic in that they're trying to find a food source that matches the energy demands and the overall sporting demands of the activity they're participating in. So the reason that things like gels and goos are created is because they fit a really specific niche. They're really high energy density and very low weight, and also formulated to typically, when used correctly, avoid GI distress. So it sounds like at that base layer, they're helping, or they could be helping, if they have access to them, they could be helping with performance enhancement. Are we seeing any GI distress when they're using them? It's still muted.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were asking me.
Yeah.
So what is he having digestive issues when he eats the goose?
Yeah, any cramping, any bloating, any diarrhea,
Yeah, no,
anything
so
like that.
it's interesting because it's stinking hot in Belize. I mean, so you're
Yep.
always sweating tons. So when we first started working together, the one of the biggest hurdles initially was to teach him to fuel his training and fuel his racing. And once he got that and the benefits that you're talking about, it was like, wow, I feel so much better. You know, I don't tank, 2 hours into a 3-hour race, or, I mean, just, so when he saw the benefits of that, a huge deal. But yeah, we added slowly, and he wasn't having digestion issues. So that's great. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, and I mean that's common with endurance athletes, as you mentioned, like the strength to weight ratio. It often ingrains a fear of eating, which then negatively or then has a negative impact on performance because they're just not eating enough outside of the race ups because they're afraid of gaining weight, which then may lead to negative performance. So it's always kind of trying to balance that scale. It sounds like you've appropriately helped them to understand the benefit of fueling outside of races. Now it seems like we need to understand what is the benefit of uh, these kind of like specially engineered foods for that time period. It sounds like you've helped them to navigate that as well. No GI distress. Is there a harm on overusing them? I think as long as they're continuing to meet their energetic needs while they're participating in their sport, which includes their practice, then the harm is quite low, probably. Could they switch to whole foods? Potentially, but we need to understand what is the trade-offs here. So as you mentioned, one of the trade-offs is slower digestion, likely a lack of convenience, and that means many things. Like it could be, it's harder to account for what the amount of this food is. Like if they switch it to a banana, the goo is like, this is 55 grams of sugar. I can grab any one of these packages and I know it's pretty much exactly 55 grams of sugar. Whereas if I grab a banana, this one's like 100 grams, this one's 120, this one's 60. There's more variability when we switch to whole foods. In addition, we're getting more weight and we may have other digestive issues when switching to different strategies from a fueling standpoint. So those are just things to consider. The good news is you're encouraging this during off season. So off season is a time to play around with these things anyway. And then you would be trying something with the understanding that it may have improvements, it may have costs, but we're going to learn from this experience. And the good news is you're not sacrificing a podium finish here. You're simply learning more about yourself as you go through this process, which is one of the benefits of having a coach.
Yeah, I keep pushing this is data, because it's all, we try it, that works, that didn't work, that kind of thing. So, I mean, and he has races that we looked at, like, how did you feel before? How do you feel during? What did you do after? Yeah, and this is an off season for him as far as racing, but he is still riding some, some longer zone 2 on the weekends kind of thing. And then he's doing a lot of weight training. So now we've
Right.
tried to really up the protein. And in Belize, carbs are king. I mean,
Mhm.
he sent his first pictures, and his mom is a great cook, I'm sure, but his first pictures are huge plates of beans and rice, and
Yeah.
a little bit of meat, but mostly beans and rice, and lots of carbs. So to
Yeah.
lose weight, he
So
had to back off that, and he's done a really good job of tuning into his hunger. So we're
mhm.
kind of working through all that. Yeah, it's been really um, interesting and rewarding, and yeah, all that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do not ascribe to the life of an endurance athlete, but I think there's a lot of messages that are beneficial from the stuff that we teach, and even from just like basic PN methodology. The thing that you'll likely want to keep in mind here is whatever his training load is he fueling appropriately with it? Understanding that some of those engineered foods are appropriate at times for his training load, if he's having a higher training load, if the output in a singular session is higher intensity, like it makes sense to bring some of those things. It's worthwhile to experiment with other whole food sources, but there's probably a tipping point where it's like this is just not a worthwhile strategy anymore, especially when performance really counts. So like in competition.
Yeah, and I hate to belittle this point, but yeah, one of my concerns was like, when you're riding on the weekends, because he has a full-time job, um,
Mhm.
so eats pretty, normally during the week, but when he does these long rides on the weekend, he's kind of like losing a meal there, right? So
Yeah,
those nutrients, the macro and the micronutrients that you would normally have during the day if you weren't riding, you're missing lunch. Where's your protein? Where's a little, healthy fats? Where,
yeah,
and yeah. So just looking at ideas so I've sent him a few things. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But again, we try it, doesn't work, then yeah, yeah.
yeah. Trying to find what is the solution that makes the most sense in the context of,
Yeah.
again, his sporting demands and energetic demands.
And it's some of this is the mother grandmother in me. It's he's 22. I'm worried about his long-term health because we don't know. Yeah. So
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it from the perspective of like what are the harms or concerns with consuming these foods, as you mentioned, it's like it is a lot of sugar, but he's consuming them typically in a place where your body is burning through so many calories where that sugar is required to continue to maintain that high level output.
yeah.
If he was consuming them like as a snack at his desk while he's doing his job, it's like that's maybe not great and super useful there. Probably not meeting his energetic needs by and large. Maybe satisfying convenience, but yeah, probably not the appropriate time for them. So, are we
Chills
using the
on the
right tool
couch,
at
a
the right
bad
time?
idea. I agree with that one.
Yeah, using them like gummy bears, probably not amazing. Uh, the, does that kind of give you some idea of how you want to take that conversation?
Yeah, no, like I said, it's an ongoing conversation. So, and I had a phone call with him last night. So I think I might want to kind of reiterate what we talked about and say, hey, but we're just trying to figure out what works best. And also cost is a thing for him too, like to
That
get
is,
those
I think,
carbs.
actually,
Yeah,
yeah, cost and availability. So he doesn't feel like, oh man, I can't do the job or I can't perform as well because I just don't have these more luxurious tools around me. Like I can't go to like mountain co-op or equipment co, or I can't go to an REI and like pick up a whole bunch of these things because I'm in friggin' Belize. It's
yeah.
like you
I
can
mean,
still be quite successful. We just may need to find other opportunities for you to utilize the things in your environment.
yeah. I mean, if you're spending 20 cents on a banana and you're spending $4 on a pack of gels or something, yeah, it adds up.
Yeah,
So.
for him, it may be like, oh, I use like a banana shake with some agave syrup in it, and that's where I get the appropriate amount of sugar for me, and just sip that, and I know that 3 sips is equal to one goo, or have that rough idea. Practicing that somewhere close to home, I would suggest, or to appropriate washroom facilities, and then figuring that stuff out could be really useful, and have him have a more low cost approach to having a similar tool in his kit.
He does like that banana shake for a snack.
There you go. I mentioned that I had an experience this morning with a coaching client that was almost similar in topic, but kind of different in application. So this is a client who approached me about working on specifically their mindset around food. They'd had a pretty significant body transformation, dropped a whole bunch of weight, but they were having a lot of feelings of guilt and shame related to eating specifically higher carb or more snack or comfort based foods. So it's like if they had a chocolate bar, they would immediately feel bad about it. Or if they had something where it had some more refined grains in it, they're like, I shouldn't have done that. And they felt really down about those things. So we're looking at trying to dismantle some of that stuff. I think it's also important to say that they approached me and said they want to improve the relationship with food. By and large, most people that I work with will not be as self-aware, at least not initially until like we've had a few conversations. They were right out in the open with they're like, I know what I need to work on. It is specifically this, and I think you might be able to help with that. Which I was like, that's an uncommon bird. I don't have many clients like that. But one of our conversations today was uh, we talked about gummy worms and how gummy worms can be an appropriate food in a given context. So we talked about uh, when would they be the best choice. I gave them the example of if you are doing like a long distance trek or you're somewhere kind of like off grid and you need really low weight and really high energy density, that's actually where like gummy worms or candy makes the most sense as a fuel source. And it was in the context of like a longer conversation because they had chocolate and their familiar pattern popped up and they're like, yeah, I was in a rush and I needed something quick and it was the only thing available, so I felt crappy about it. And I was like, there may be a time where grabbing chocolate actually makes the most sense for you. So we're keeping that on the table as a idea that exists so that when you opt into those things, if nothing else changes, you at least don't feel crappy about it. That is the win that we're looking for here. Uh, I don't think this is going to open the door for them to be like, oh, then I should feel good about eating chocolate all the time. I don't think we're going to go down that slippery slope. But your conversation, Vicky, reminded me that it's like there's an appropriate time for every food and making sure that a client is aware of it's like, yeah, this is the best choice for me. And whether they don't need to use like extreme justification for it, they can just say, hey, this is something that I wanted to have. I enjoyed the experience. I felt like I enjoyed it to an appropriate amount. No guilt and shame required. That for a lot of people is the win. And I think Jordan Sayed summarizes it best. He's like, for some folks, the win is not eating the cookie. And for other folks, the win is eating the cookie. This is a client where he's trying to figure out what is that framework that allows him to experience both of those things without feeling guilt and shame attached to it. Yeah, I've been in some situations where like, God, I really wish I packed the gummies for this one. Cool. I'm just looking through the chat box to see if there's anything else that we missed. We have a few more minutes. Leah, do you want to tell us a little bit about the group coaching program that you're starting up? I know it's a conversation topic that we've touched on a few times, and I'm glad to see that it looks like it's getting ready to launch. What have you been working on for the last few days?
So I've been utilizing AI to help
Mhm.
me with my plan because when it comes to the business aspect, I have no idea what I'm doing. I know very basic things, but when it comes to this type of stuff, I really don't know what I'm doing. So I've been really utilizing it. So I having a discussion with AI, and it gave me this really great framework plan of, what a timeline would look like to launch my coaching. So starting off first, just getting people's emails.
Mhm.
So I am just finishing up my freebie for the download. So I'm doing just like a super simple cookbook type thing with some little recipes in it for busy lives. So that's kind of my niche. I have a lot of moms that I deal with and work with, and also I have some teens, which is very different as well. Actually, I even have um, an autistic child as well, which is like kind of a fun thing So it kind of just helps with like all of that kind of realm. Um, because we all are busy. We all have things going on. So my freebie is that. So I'll be launching my freebie um, probably the beginning of next week, which is kind of scary for me because I've never done anything like this. But I'll be launching the freebie, getting emails, starting out. A while ago, we had, I cannot remember her name though. um, we had one of our Zoom calls and we had a gal that like did actual emails.
Oh, you mean
And she was
on
talking
one of
about
these
like
calls?
comedy.
Oh,
What was
yes.
that?
Yeah, she sat down with Kate. The name
Yeah, I
escapes me
can't.
right now,
I know, me
but
too. I'm like, shoot, I know
yeah,
I can see her face. But
I
anyways,
can see her
you
website
know,
design. Yeah.
something about was it like margaritas or I don't know. It doesn't matter. But anyways, and just putting some comedy into it. Like so something else I'm doing too is I was talking to my friend who does marketing and I was like, okay, this might be a silly thing. I was like, but what if I integrate my animals into what I do? And so she's like, well, that's not silly. That's like something that everybody could see as, you know, comical for that kind of group that I'm reaching out for. Um, so I'll be integrating that as well. I'll be sending out my freebies. I'll be boosting that post. And then right now I have a time or like an outline already made for my group coaching, which is really similar, which I mean, this helps. It's really similar to the nutrition classes that I host.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, it just everything lines up. Um, but it's just now it's just trying to figure out the fine tuning of how many people I should have in my group class. Um, if I just take on the world and take on however many sign up, or if I set a
Mhm.
limit on it, because then there could be more time for one-on-one. And then I'm also trying to figure out the small pieces of if I do our sessions every 2 weeks or every week. Um, and then maybe try to do different times because the hardest thing is I'm Hawaii. So if I
Mhm.
have anybody on the
Yeah.
mainland right now, it makes it kind of hard. Um, you know, like there's certain times I'm just like, I can't even get up for certain, like even PN calls. I'm like, that's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm still sleeping. Um, so it's just like getting those fine-tuned things. But I have my outline already made. I have an idea already of what I'm doing. Um, I guess it's just scary, and I guess it's good because, you know, when we feel uncomfortable and moving forward, it's usually a good thing because we're
Mhm.
growing as well. But it definitely like makes me nervous, but I am treating it with the fake it till you make it type mentality where it's like I know
That
what
is
I'm
fair.
doing. Well, it's just like, you know, it's that confidence of like, you know what you're doing. This might be the first one, but it's okay. And like you know, we have discussions with Kate about this, like it's okay if we don't have all the answers. So this is my first group coaching, and I look at it as it's okay that I'm not doing it maybe as productive as I could. Um, and I've been kind of like pushing my heels in a little bit because I'm scared to do it. So I've
Mhm.
been really, really touching base with myself on like, why is that scary to me? Um, and just like searching for that reason. But so those are just like the little things that I'm working on for that for the group coaching.
That I mean, one, I think Kate would give you a big round of applause for having these conversations, but also utilizing the hell out of AI.
Oh, I
I'm
love
pretty sure
it.
she'd be
I'm like all
yeah,
about it right now. Like it
very
helps so much.
appreciative of that continuing messaging. And then yeah, in terms of uh, fear of like doing the thing, I would encourage you to take the big swing, like not to cap it just yet. Uh,
Yeah.
See how big this monster grows before you decide to put chains on it. It's like, oh,
Hmm.
if it gets to a place where it's like that was unwieldy and it was too successful last time, then you'll know where changes need to be made. Potentially increasing pricing, offering like a different coaching, like slight tweaks to the coaching model, all of those things. But for
Mhm.
this first one, it's like if it's a little bit big and unwieldy, apologize to the people as you're going through it. It's like, hey, sorry, I'm just making tweaks here. I'm learning along with you. As you
Mhm.
mentioned before, uh, and as other coaches mentioned here as well, allowing people to kind of get insight into your life and let them know it's like, uh, none of this is perfect. I am doing the best
Yep.
I can. It's the expectation I have for myself as well as the expectation I hope that you have for yourself as well. Uh, can certainly feed into the coaching message, and a little bit of chaos on round one is normally well accepted by most people.
Well, and I'm anticipating that. And that's the thing is like anticipating now so I can have the action for when that happens.
Yep. Well, continue to keep us posted. We appreciate the updates.
Yeah, I will. It's scary, but I will.
Awesome. Cool. Let's wrap up here for today. Thank you all for the great conversations. Amanda, thank you for getting us kickstarted. Hopefully, as you're going through the CBK course, that will be some useful content for you. And then keep coming back and again, offering us more questions, more updates. That's what we're here for. Cheers, gang.
Thank you.
Thank you.